Saturday, 15th of June 2024. This day is celebrated as World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. This day is celebrated every year on the June 15th to raise awareness for caring elders. Elder abuse is a global social issue that affects the health and human rights of millions of the older people around the world. Starting the newspaper analysis with the newspaper, The Hindu stated that South Africa's President Ramaphosa is re-elected for a second term after the dramatic late coalition deal. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. The ANC, the famed party of the Nelson Mandela, has ruled South Africa with a comfortable majority since the end of the apartheid system of the white minority rule in 1994. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa was re-elected by lawmakers for a second term on June 14 after his party struck a dramatic late coalition deal with a former political foe just hours before the vote. Mr. Ramaphosa, the leader of the African National Congress, was convincingly in parliament against a surprise candidate who was also nominated, Julius Malema, of the far-left economic freedom fighter. Mr. Ramaphosa received 83 votes to the Malema's of 44 in the 400-member House. The Hindu newspaper also stated that Putin vows truce if Ukraine exists Moscow-occupied areas and drops NATO bid, Russia's President Vladimir Putin. Such a deal appears a non-starter for Kyiv, which wants to join the military alliance and has demanded that Russia withdraws its troops from all of its territory. Russian President Vladimir Putin promised on the June 14 to immediately order a ceasefire in the Ukraine and begin negotiations if the Kyiv started withdrawing troops from 4 regions annexed by Moscow in 2022 and renounced all plans to join NATO. Such a deal appears a non-starter for Kyiv, which wants to join the military alliance and has demanded that Russia withdraws its troops from all of its territory. There was no immediate comment from the Ukraine on Mr. Putin's proposal. The Hindu newspaper also stated that G7 dropped summit commitment to abortion access. A dropped statement. A woman takes a photo with the flags on the second day of the G7 summit at the Borca Ignazia resort in Salvatore, Italy on July 14, 2024. It was actually July 2023. G7 leaders committed support Ukraine for as long as it takes. According to the draft statement from the summit, where they agreed a new $50 billion loan for the Kyiv. G7 leaders have dropped an explicit commitment to abortion rights in their final statement from its summit, according to the draft seen by AFP on June 14 after the reports that hosts Italy were opposed. Leaders of the group of 7 rich democracies had a job on summit last year, commitment to addressing access to safe and legal abortion, but this reference does not appear in the draft of this year's statement. The Hindu newspaper also stated that Pope Francis calls G7 for ban on lethal autonomous weapons. Pope Francis speaks during the working session on artificial intelligence, energy, Africa, Mediterranean on the day 2 of the 50th G7 summit of Borgo Ignazia, southern Italy on June 14, 2024. Pope Francis, the first head of the Catholic Church to ever attend a Group of 7 summit, has repeatedly denounced the arms industry, and those he says a profit from wars and death. Pope Francis called on June 14 for a ban on lethal autonomous weapons when he addressed the G7 leaders summit in Italy on the perils of artificial intelligence. In light of the tragedy that is armed conflict, it is urgent to reconsider the development and use of the devices that likes the so-called lethal autonomous weapons and ultimately ban their use, the Pope said. Home Minister reviews J&K security situation, calls high-level meeting on June 16. Union Home Minister Amit Shah has been briefed about the prevailing situation in Jammu and Kashmir and the steps taken following the terror incidents, sources said. During the meeting of the Home Minister will also take stock of the preparedness of annual Amarnath Yatra that will begin on June 29. Union Home Minister Amit Shah on June 14 reviewed the security situation in Jammu and Kashmir in the wake of the several terror incidents there, including an attack on a bus ferrying pilgrims. So it said he called a high-level meeting on June 16 to be attended by National Security Advisor Ajit Dolwal, Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir Manoj Sinha, top official of the Army, CRPF and others to review the prevailing situation in the Union Territory and steps taken to check terror incidents. During the meeting, the minister will also take the stock of the preparedness of the annual Amarnath Yatra that will begin on June 29, sources said. BSF continuously thwarting efforts to destabilize border areas, says Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar. Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar also called the BSF Jawans messengers of peace, and called it a matter of pride that the BSF is the largest border guarding force in the world. Speaking at the Border Security Force Sainik Semelian in Jaisalmer on Friday, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar appreciated the force's efforts in the safeguarding India, its people and its interests. He said that efforts were being made currently by enemies of the country to create an atmosphere of the instability in border areas through the infiltration and the smuggling efforts that the BSF was thwarting continuously and making people in the border areas feel safe and secure. The BSF is responsible for safeguarding India's border with Pakistan and Bangladesh. Journalist associations, digital rights groups demand withdrawal of the laws aimed at the curbing freedom of press. The practice of the repeated interest shutdowns impairs both the citizens' rights to information and journalists' ability to report the news. A resolution by media and the digital rights bodies said. Through a resolution, the signatories have demanded that such legal provisions be deleted or amended. Several journalists, associations, and digital rights organizations have endorsed a resolution to intensify their demand for withdrawal of laws that they said were aimed at curbing the freedom of press. As stated in the resolution passed at a meeting held on May 28, 2024, the provisions under the law, such as the proposed Broadcast Service Regulation Bill 2023, Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023, Press and Registration of the Periodicals Act 2023, and the Information Technology Amendment Rules, grant authority to the government to remove any online content pertaining on to its business that it deems to be false or misleading. Hindustan Times also stated that panel may soon place a report on One Nation One Election before cabinet. Former President Ramnath Kovind has a high-level committee, HLC, on One Nation One Election committee member. Union Home Minister Amit Shah presented the report on the simultaneous elections to the President Draupadi Murmu at the Rashtrapati Bhavan in New Delhi. The Ministry of Law and Justice is likely to place before the Union Cabinet the report of the high-level committee of One Nation One Election in the next 1 or 2 weeks as a part of the department's 100-day plan for the new National Democratic Alliance. Government officials aware of the developments said on Friday. Hindustan Times also stated that Ukraine war defense ties and focus as a Prime Minister Modi holds high-stakes bilaterals. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday reiterated India's support for the peaceful resolution of the Russia-Ukraine war conflict at a meeting with the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who thanked the Indian leader for the expected presence of a high-level delegation at a peace summit being hosted by Switzerland. Going towards the economy of the country from the business point of view, exports jump 9% year-on-year amid demand and revival in the key markets. Trade deficit at 7-month high. New Delhi's good exports in May jumped 9.10% to $38.13 billion in the May from $34.96 billion the year ago month. The growth has led by electronics, petroleum, and the engineering goods. Exports to the United States rose by over 13% from year-on-year levels to $7.42 billion in the May. Outbound shipments to the United Arab Emirates (UAE) jumped nearly 19% year-on-year to $3.06 billion. Driven by demand revival in India's traditional exports markets such as Europe and the United States, India's goods exports in May logged a sharp 9% year-on-year jump, even as the country's trade gap is swelled to the 7-month high of $24 billion due to higher oil imports. As per the data released by the Commerce and Industry Ministry on Friday, New Delhi's goods exports in May jumped 9.10% to $38.13 billion in the May month from $34.96 billion in the year ago month. The growth was led by the electronics, petroleum, and the engineering goods. Meanwhile, the imports rose at a relatively slower pace of 7.6% to $61.91 billion from $57.49 billion in the May 2023 official data showed. From the banking and finance point of view, SBI raises MCLR up by 10 BPS across the tenors. The revised MCLR for 2 years and 3 year MCLRs are 8.85% and 8.95%, respectively. The new rates are effective from today. While any hike or cut in the repo rates gets immediately reflected in loans linked to EBLR, banks review interest rates under MCLR every month at a pre-announced date. 47% of the urban Indians faced financial frauds in the last 3 years. The survey among the urban Indians who have experienced financial fraud in the last 3 years, 43% have experienced fraud with their current credit card, while 30% experienced fraud via UPI transactions. The survey conducted by local circles said as many as 47% of the urban Indians has said either themselves or someone in their family have been a victim of financial frauds in the last 3 years, said a survey. Local circles said the credit card of the Indian consumers is easily available for the sale by thousands of the data vendors across India. Now going towards the world news, including Donald Trump's 78th birthday, and becomes a show of loyalty for his fans and fellow Republicans. A Southwest Airlines plane that had a touch roll suffered structural damage. Investigators say United States preparing to temporarily remove Gaza pilot because of the sea conditions, says official. United States Navy faces its most intense combat since the World War II against Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels. Ukrainian attacks killed 5 in Russia's Belgorod region, officials says. Protesters rally for just a year after the Greece migrant boat disaster. Now going to science and tech, we have Meta pauses artificial intelligence models launched in Europe due to the Irish request. Meta said the Irish request is a step backward for the European innovation and competition in artificial intelligence development. Meta platforms will not launch its Meta artificial intelligence models in the Europe for now after the Irish privacy regulator told it to delay its plan to harmless data from the Facebook and the Instagram users. Meta platforms will not launch its Meta artificial intelligence models in the Europe for now after the Irish privacy regulator told it to delay its plan to harness data from the Facebook and Instagram users, the United States social media company said on Friday. The move by Meta came after the complaints and call by advocacy group and YB to data protection authorities in Austria, Belgium, France, Germany, Greece, Italy, Ireland, the Netherlands, Norway, Poland, and Spain to act against the company. Book examiners panels of mega development project proposed on Great Nicobar Island. Enrom director, the Hindu Group Publishing Private Limited, releasing the book The Great Nicobar Betrayal, published by Frontline at the Madras Institute of Development Studies in Chennai on Friday. From left to Vishna Roy, editor, Frontline, Yuan Avis, naturalist and writer, Pankaj Saksaria, author and academic, and M. Suresh Babu, director, Madras Institute of Development Studies, are seen. Pankaj Saksaria, an associate professor at IIT Bombay, who had put together the book, said the environmental impact assessment preparedness for the project lacked scientific rigor and questioned against the folly, as the Great Nicobar Island is not only a pristine with the invaluable biodiversity and the vulnerable tribal population, but is also a geological sensitive island. A book examining the perils of the proposed 72,000 crore mega infrastructure development project in the Great Nicobar Island, the southernmost island in the Nicobar Islands, part of the Andaman and Nicobar archipelago, was launched in Chennai on Friday. Titled The Great Nicobar Betrayal, the book published by Frontline has been put together by the Pankaj Saksaria, an associate professor at the Center for Technology Alternatives for Rural Areas, IIT Bombay, and a diligent chronicler of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. It is an compilation of articles by the different authors published in the Frontline and other news publications. India made TB diagnostics tech wins acclaim at the World Health Assembly. Sriram Natarajan, fourth from left, founder and the CEO of Molbio, was a part of the panel at the WHO discussing point of care diagnostics in India as per the press release. Developed by Goa-based Molbio, a point-of-care molecular diagnostics company, TrueNet, first launched in 2017, is a portable battery-operated machine that can be developed at labs, health centers, and in the field. The TrueNet platform and rapid molecular test for the diagnosis of a pulmonary, extrapulmonary, and rifampicin-resistant tuberculosis that was developed in India has been hailed for its role in the combating TB and as a possible component of the global healthcare solution. At the recently held 77th World Health Assembly in Geneva, developed by Goa-based Molbio, a point-of-care of molecular diagnostics, a company TrueNet was first launched in 2017. And it's a real-time quantitative micro PCR system. It is a portable battery-operated machine that can be developed at labs, health centers, and in the field. TrueNet delivers results from the samples in less than an hour and can test for over 40 diseases. At last, there's a famous quotation said by APJ Abdul Kalam, whose full name was Ul Pakir Jainul Abidin Abdul Kalam, birth anniversary 15 October 1931 up to 27th of July 2015. Was an Indian aerospace scientist and a statesman who served as the 11th President of India from 2002 to 2007. Born and raised in a Muslim family and Rameshwaram, Tamil Nadu, he studied physics and aerospace engineering. He spent the next 4 decades as a scientist and a science administrator, mainly at the DRDO and ISRO, and was intimately involved in the India's civilian space program and the military missile development efforts. He thus came to be known as the Missile Man of India. For his work on the development of ballistic missile and launch vehicle technology, he has also played a pivotal organizational, technical, and a political role in India's Pokhran second nuclear tests in 1998, the first since the original nuclear test by India in 1974. Mr. Kalam says a famous quotation. He says that if we work with the determination, we can achieve anything. Okay, thank you.